and welcome to another episode of Young and Black in Britain. It's your girl CY, and on the couch with me today, I've got a guest. As you know, I don't do this on my own. My guest is someone who has experienced life on various levels as a young black person in Britain. My guest was not born with a silver spoon in their mouth, but did not allow that to define their experience and what they could become. This person, after successfully completing a diploma in education and training, and then also holding a number of roles within the student political space, went on to become the first black female president of the National Union of Students. On the couch with me is the NUS President, the very Shakira Martin. Madam President, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
It's a real honor to have you on the couch with me.
Thank you.
I didn't think this day would come, but yeah, it's here and I'm proud. So, well, a lot of people probably know you by now, 7 million strong and that. I want to be as popular as you. And we know that you've held various roles within the student political space. But tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got into student politics and representation, apart from all the things we read on the press, that's all media. Tell us about yourself.
How did I get involved in this? By accident. I say very often it was adversity, not university, that got me here. But from overcoming a number of barriers, so a close family member was addicted to drugs, growing up around drug abuse, being in a domestic abusive relationship, and being able to be fortunate enough to overcome those issues. I wanted to help other young black women in my community to not be survivors, not be victims, but survivors in their own right. So while I was at college, I saw a poster to be a women's officer, and I was like, I want to help women, gain their worth and their self-confidence back, and that's where it started. I knew nothing about politics, was never political.
So how did you win then? Obviously you went for the women.
I'll tell you why. Because all these politicians and these people are fake.
Okay.
Literally, they can't relate to people, and they're almost like robots. So I think for me it was like I was a breath of fresh air, because as I feel it is as I say it.
Yeah. We know that. We know that.
And yeah, it could relate to a lot of people.
Okay. All right then. That's great. And you've been in this now for how long? This is about your 5th year or so?
So 4 years in the national role and 1 year as a volunteer, and I've won 11 elections in those 4 years.
All right. You could become a professional campaign manager or something. Tell people how you've done it.
I don't know. Definitely, it's support around you. I think you can't do this type of job alone. I am the front person, spokesperson, but there's a lot of people behind the scenes that support you.
Looking into going to national politics, maybe?
Labour's a mess. Until Labour fixes up and Jeremy Corbyn's gone, I'm not going to be able to,
So no. Not yet. Not for now.
Not at the moment. I don't think the Labour Party's ready for me because I'm just too saucy. Honestly.
Oh, saucy you are. I give you that for sure. Now, you're the first black female president of the NUS. And we'd like to know, what was a key defining moment for you while you were growing up that led you down this path that you're on now? Because your role obviously is a big one.
So I think it was around breaking the cycle of deprivation, growing up in a working class family as a single parent where drug abuse played a major part of my upbringing. I always wanted more for myself, but I didn't know what more was like. I wanted to be out of the struggle. I wanted to be able to, live and be able to have a future and see myself having a future. But it's not until 2011 when I became a mother, when I was like, shit, I need to put things in perspective and be able to be the best person that I can for them. And that's what's kind of been my motivation.
Oh, and by the way, how are the girls, Taisha and Kiara?
Oh my gosh, they're really, really good at the moment. They're having some issues at school at the moment, but they are really strong and they're doing very well.
Oh, Shakira's girls are amazing, by the way. I remember this one time on my birthday where they wrote me a card, they bought me a cake, and they came to sing happy birthday and to see why. It was really amazing.
Yeah.
Now, it's definitely been a very, very busy year for you. Anyone who's got eyes and watches the news or reads any of the news articles that comes out knows that a lot of things have been going on at NUS. So how have you coped with it all? because obviously you have a life outside of NUS. Sometimes people don't remember that, but you just talked about your girls. So how have you coped with all of it?
See, the thing with social media, people only show you what they want you to see. When you're feeling down and feeling depressed and stuff, that's stuff that you kind of do behind social media. But that's why it's really important to have really great friends and family. And I think it's a lot of my friends and real friends and family that has been able to support me throughout this difficult time.
Okay. Well, that sounds very, very, very serious and very put together. Shakira, you're looking at me, you know.
Because I can't tell you how I deal with it. I can't.
Okay, all right then. If I press her further, I promise you this is gonna explode. So let's just keep the spice down for a little bit. You know, like Nando's one chili.
Lemon and herb.
Lemon and herb. Now I'm gonna ask the question on everybody's mind. Since you refused to answer the last one properly.
Sounded like a politician, innit? Like dodging the question and that.
You know. So I'm going to ask the question on everybody's mind. It's Shakira. So listen, I'm sure everyone who's watching this right now is thinking this question I'm about to ask you. So those Facebook Live videos though, like why do you really do them? Like why? Do you consider like Facebook community a safe space or something? Why do you do it?
I don't think there's any safe space for at any one time. I don't know, like sometimes I just want to say how I feel and be able to express myself. And when you go on Facebook, it says, "What are you feeling?"
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, I'll tell you what I'm feeling.
You take it literal.
However, I think you underestimate the reach that social media can have. And I think because I'm engaging and I'm relatable, a lot of people tune in. So I've calmed down on the Facebook Lives for my own purpose because I feel like my story and my feelings are very personal. And I think I've given too much over this last 4 years in this role that I think that society don't need to know every single thing that I'm going through. However, last week I did do another Facebook Live. That's because it was extremely important circumstances where my children have been victims of racism at their school. So I shared that video on Facebook and it's got nearly 67,000 views.
Wow.
Because it was really important to get that message out about the struggles that many black parents are facing with racism across the country and our children. And I was asking for some support. So that's the last Facebook Live. I think you should look at it and share it.
We'll definitely share it. And I'm really sorry to hear that the girls had to or have to go through that experience at school. And I know that obviously you're the first black parent, NUS President. I don't know, her first blacks are a lot if I want to start to go through it. But how have you found it, like juggling, being a parent? I know a lot of people know the girls. I think they're even more popular than you are. But how have you found it, like being a mom, having to deal with being a mom and the issues that come with it? For example, this, and then all of the things you face, the attacks sometimes, I can call it, you face in the role as NUS President. Like, does not get too much sometimes.
100%. Like, I'm only human after all.
Absolutely.
I'm someone's child, someone's sister, someone's mother, and I found it particularly hard balancing this public life with my real life because they're like chalk and cheese. They don't really add up. But in that same way, I think me being in NUS has been able to allow my children to be able to see their future. Yeah. So my daughter, my 7-year-old, came out the other day and said she wants to go Cambridge University to study hairdressing, art and politics. I don't know about Cambridge doing hairdressing. I wouldn't let no one from Cambridge do my hair. Personally. But,
okay.
No disrespect. I like Cambridge, but they're more research than vocational.
No, I understand what you mean. I do, and I hope you lot understand.
Yeah, no offence.
Yeah.
Please. I told you I'm too saucy. That's why I need my press officer here. Because they give me the lines and I'll know like
what to say.
Well,
that's the point. We want the real Shakira. I mean, we know what Shakira is like anyway. So if you come here and bring a fake, we'd know there's something definitely wrong with that tea you drank this morning. So we know. Now, so your position is a massive one. You've talked about racism that you've experienced on your own, even the girls, having to deal with some of that. But what are some of the societal issues that you address through your role as president?
Yep, so a lot of issues around social justice, so around having an accessible, fair education system where everybody can benefit from. It's not about just getting working class or marginalised students into education, but making sure that when they're there, they get the best quality education, and it shouldn't be about their gender, their race, how much money they get in the bank. We're also fighting issues around knife crime. That's a really big passion for me, something that is not only an epidemic that's happening across London and the country, but something that's very personal to me, and faced by a number of people within my community. But our overall aim is to fight for students, to defend and support the rights of students within their education.
That's interesting. So as I wind down now this interview with you, your term is coming to an end, and potentially your NUS life is also coming to an end, because unless you want to become CEO now, I don't know what next you're going to do. But what would you say is your legacy? What's the legacy that you're leaving behind, maybe?
Like a single mother, working class girl who's grew up in a dysfunctional family, started from the bottom, now you're here, and I'm here to stay. And I'm just hoping that through me being in this position, that many young people can look at me and be like, do you know what, I can be my authentic self and still make it. Never change who you are, because that's what makes us unique. And this is why politics has remained the same, because we get the same rigid, dry up, crusty up people in politics that's unrelatable to people, don't understand what's going on, and we need a fresh, vibrant set of student leaders and potential leaders to lead this country.
And as you mentioned, you mentioned new, vibrant, fresh potential set of leaders. One of the reasons why Black Impact exists, for example, is to get more Black students into leadership, into social activism and political engagement. Like, in your role, like as part of your legacy, like, how do you see, or what would you like to see Black students doing in getting into positions such as yours and other positions in their communities? Because if you're not in those spaces, then you can't influence the decisions that are made. So, like, what is your vision? Like, how do you see Black students?
We are more than just Black students. We are strong people with a range of adversity and overcoming adversity. So my advice would be, if you're standing in elections within your students' unions,
election season right now.
Election season, because you're a Black student, why are you just standing for the Black students officer? Go for that women's officer role, go for that vice president role, go for that president role. We have more to give than just our ethnicity. We are articulate, we are intelligent, and we are the future. And it's going to be hard out there. Nothing worth fighting for is easy. And you don't have the privilege necessarily to say certain things that, you know, your white counterparts can say without being over the front page of the Sun or the Independent. However, do not underestimate that when people are seeing you in those positions and hearing you speak on those platforms, how much you are changing their life and giving them motivation.
Boom, I couldn't have said it better. You've not said brat today.
Change it up.
She says that a lot. She says that a lot. Just before you go, let's get to know you a little bit more. Apart from the sauciness, let's see the Shakira, who's not always saucy.
I'm scared of these questions.
No. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, one young person that you're proud of today. Who's one young person you're proud of? Don't think about it too much.
Chuck from the Ends.
Okay, I don't know who Chuck is.
Chuck is the little boy in the Ends. Well, he's not little no more. He's turned 21 the other day. But seeing him from, going into school to setting up his own business and own clothing line is someone that I've seen grow personally. So Chuck, big up yourself.
Oh, sweet.
And that's his real name, by the way.
Okay, all right then. Hello, Chuck, and well done what you're doing. If you were, don't think about this too much.
Okay.
If you were a superhero, who would you be?
Storm.
Storm?
Yeah.
In X-Men?
Yeah.
Oh, why? I know the answer to that already. I guess I shouldn't.
Well, I can give you a good reason. In the student movement, the right wingers like to call us snowflakes. So I was just like, let's counteract that and just storm, mash up everything, and then rebuild it back again.
Oh, I like that.
That was off the top of my head.
Oh, well done. And the last one for you is, what was the last song you listened to? Because I know you listen to songs a lot. What was the last song you listened to?
Oh, Jane Doe and Ratman.
Okay. I wish we had music in the studio right now because you'd fully...
That was in my car today.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, Shakira, to have you here. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you'd oblige us in the future when we invite you, because we would. We will. Thank you so much. And on that note, it's the end of another episode of Young and Black in Britain. I'm CY, and I will see you again.